Hello, it is Tuesday, December the 4th, the year 2012, and as usual, sports fans, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Let's get to the Monday Night Football game. The Washington Redskins beat the New York Giants in D.C. 17-16. The Redskins go up to 6-6. The Giants drop down to 7-5. Nice win by Washington, a really nice win. I thought this game was going to be really high scoring. I thought there was going to be 1,000,000 points scored. There wasn't. Really, really nice job by Washington. Nice job by their defense, holding the Giants to 16 points. And the Redskins overall have done a really, really good job this year. They are 6-6. Robert Griffin III looks really good. The running back, who's a rookie, looks really good. I like what I see from Washington going forward in the future. I think they're starting to put together a really good team led by Robert Griffin III. And as far as the Giants, we should be used to this by now with the Giants in the regular season. The Giants do this in the regular season. They blow out Green Bay, they lose to Washington. They blow out San Francisco, they get crushed by Cincinnati. The Giants are in the regular season are like a 9-7 team, and then if they get into the playoffs, they are capable of beating anyone and going on a big run. They've done it twice in the last few years, won 2 Super Bowls, barely getting into the playoffs and then going on a big run. We've come to expect this from the Giants. They don't make it easy in the regular season. They had a chance to put some distance between themselves and Washington and Dallas. They didn't. Washington is a game behind them. Dallas also a game behind them. So the Giants have let Dallas and Washington back into the division race. Am I surprised? No. We've seen this act before from the Giants, and we're going to see it again this year. And also, last night, that's what happens when you settle for field goals too many times. The Giants too many times settled for field goals. They made 3, they missed 1. When you settle for field goals in the NFL in this day and age and you don't get touchdowns, it comes back to burn you. Washington with a touchdown in the fourth quarter. They win 17-16. Nice job by the Skins. So that wraps up your Week 13 in the NFL. Let's go through the standings. Let's go through who's in the playoffs right now, who's out, who's close. Let's go through all that right now. Let's start in the NFC. The NFC East, the Giants are 7-5. They are leading the division. They're a game up on Dallas and Washington. I just went through the whole Giants story. We know what they're going to do in the regular season. They are leading by a game. Dallas at 6-6. They're up, they're down. They play one quarter, one bad quarter. They fall behind by a lot of points. They try and rally. Dallas, to me, is up and down, but they are only a game back of the Giants, and they're in the playoff race. I mean, as much as Dallas has sputtered this year, they're right there, so they're 6-6. Same thing with Washington. Now, do I think Washington is a playoff team? No. They're right there, though, at 6-6. They're not too far behind. So Washington 6-6, doing a nice job. Philadelphia 3-9. They're dead in the water. Forget about them. Let's go to the North. Green Bay is 8-4. We know Green Bay has some problems. They have injuries on the defense. They have trouble with their offensive line. They have trouble with their running game. But they are so dangerous because they have Aaron Rodgers and those great receivers. And if they ever get Woodson and Clay Matthews back on defense, those guys can do some things on defense like force turnovers. Green Bay's in first place. They're 8-4. Should be 9-3. They got robbed against Seattle. So Green Bay, overall, they have some problems, but they are dangerous. The Bears at 8-4. They have a championship defense. Can their offensive line hold up, and can their offense do enough in a big spot? They do have a championship defense, though. They're 8-4. Right now, Green Bay holds the tiebreaker. They play one more time in Soldier Field. Minnesota at 6-6. Overall, a nice job by the Vikings. Overall, they've doubled their win total. I mean, I don't expect the Vikings to do much from here on out. I think they're going to turn into a pumpkin. I've been saying it the last few weeks. I mean, they've lost the last couple of weeks, so we'll see where the Vikings end up. But they've done an overall nice job. Adrian Peterson, amazing. Detroit 4-8, one of the biggest disappointments in the league. Find new and creative ways to lose every week. The South, Atlanta Falcons 11-1. Can't say too much bad about an 11-1 team. Matt Ryan at the end of the games always pulls the games out. I love the receivers. I'd like them to commit to the running game more. Defense, I like what I see this year from Atlanta's defense. So overall, you can't say anything bad about Atlanta. Tampa Bay 6-6, very improved in every game. It seems like they're in a one-score game either way every week. Shiano, nice job there. Saints at 5-7. I think the Saints, that's it for them. I mean, I think that's after last week, the Saints are going to basically bow out of this playoff race. I don't think they're a serious contender. I don't like their defense, the whole mess with the bounty thing. I mean, the coaching, all that kind of stuff. Drew Brees didn't play well last week, so Saints kind of a lost year. Look for them to rebound next year. Carolina 3-9, a complete mess with Carolina this year. Cam Newton, major step back. That's the NFC. I'm sorry, NFC West. San Francisco 8-3-1. San Francisco has Kaepernick at quarterback now. I mean, is he the answer? Do they go back to Alex Smith? You know, they're a contender, San Francisco, but they're juggling quarterbacks. I mean, so their offense is still a problem. Their defense can play with anyone. Seattle at 7-5, great home field. Proved they could do it on the road by beating the Bears last week. They have to be more consistent on the road, though. St. Louis at 5-6-1. Nice job by Jeff Fisher. They're almost a 500 team, St. Louis. I mean, they're not a complete team at all, but I like what I've seen from St. Louis this year. Arizona 4-8. They've gone to pieces. They've lost 8 in a row. They don't know what quarterback to play. Cobb's hurt. They benched Skelton. They put in Lindley. He can't play. No offensive line. I mean, Beanie Wells hurt all the time. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald lost this year. I mean, their defense is pretty good, but other than that, they don't have much. All right, so that's the NFC. AFC real quick, the AFC East. New England Patriots at 9-3. Typical New England. I don't love their defense. I think it's going to get them in the playoffs, but typical New England. They win the East, as usual. Jets at 5-7. To me, it's amazing the Jets are 5-7. It seems like they've been playing worse than that. Jets at 5-7. We'll see what they do with the quarterback situation. Buffalo 5-7. I'm not impressed overall with them either. I am not a big believer in Fitzpatrick. Miami at 5-7. I do like Tannehill. I think the future is bright with him. Over to the north, Baltimore at 9-3. Had a bad loss to Pittsburgh. They're very good at home, Baltimore. They can be a bully team at home. Very vulnerable on the road. We'll see how it plays out with the home field with them. Very important. Pittsburgh at 7-5, holding on to that last playoff spot until they get everyone back. They get Brown back. They get Palomalo back. Need Roethlisberger back. Batch played well, but you can't go, in the long run, you can't win with Batch. You have to have Roethlisberger to make a run. Right now, Pittsburgh holding on at 7-5 to the last playoff spot. They are tied with Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 7-5. Pittsburgh has the tiebreaker. They beat them in Cincinnati. They play one more time in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati's really done a nice job. They've won 4 games in a row. A lot of good young players. Like the defense, like Dalton, like A.J. Green. Cleveland 4-8. They've been trying. They're fighting. Whedon looks like he's got some possibilities. I like the running back. Need some more weapons on offense. Need a lot of work, Cleveland. Over to the South, Houston at 11-1. They're kind of like Atlanta in the NFC. Can't say anything bad about Houston. They're an 11-1 team. Look like the best team in the AFC. When they played Baltimore this year, they blew them out. Like what I see from top to bottom from Houston. Indianapolis at 8-4. Tremendous job by the coaching staff. Tremendous job by Luck. Really, really nice story, the Indianapolis Colts. Tennessee at 4-8. Major disappointment. Don't know if Locke can play. Hasselbeck, forget him. He's long in the tooth. Don't like their defense. Chris Johnson, ever since he got the big contract, he hasn't been the same. Very disappointed in Tennessee this year. Jacksonville 2-10. I mean, who knows? At quarterback, Gabbard, Henney, they have decent receivers. That's about it. Jones-Drew hasn't played basically at all this year. Defense is a mess. Jacksonville, long way to go. 2-10. Over to the West, Denver, hottest team in the league. 9-3, on fire. Denver can do no wrong. Peyton Manning in the regular season is great. I like the Denver defense. They're a real contender. San Diego at 4-8. Just blow up the team. North Turn is out. Major changes coming. They have acted like a bunch of losers this year. They've lost every way possible, kind of like the Lions over in the NFC. I mean, I still can't get over that 2 weeks ago, the Chargers lost to the Ravens and gave up a 4th and 29. I still haven't gotten over it 2 weeks later. Chargers a bunch of losers. Oakland 3-9, all sorts of problems. They have Carson Palmer, who's the guy that's ready to win now. The team is awful. Running back's always hurt. Defense can't stop anyone. They have a few nice receivers, but their defense is atrocious. The worst defense in the league. I mean, they give up 30 points a game every week. Horrible, horrible defense by Oakland. They got a long way to go. Kansas City 2-10, major disappointment. Did show some heart last week, but overall major disappointment. I mean, all you need to know about Kansas City is they're going with Brady Quinn over Castle. That shows you the desperation there. That's your standings. Now let's go to the playoff standings. Right now, if the playoffs were to start today, I know there's a long way to go. Here's how it would look. NFC. Atlanta would be your 1 seed. San Francisco would be your 2 seed. Those teams would have a bye. Your 3 seed would be the Green Bay Packers. Your 4 seed would be the New York Giants. Right now, the wild card. Your first wild card is the Chicago Bears. Your second wild card is the Seattle Seahawks at 7-5. The Seattle Seahawks are a game ahead of Dallas, who's 6-6, Tampa Bay, who's 6-6, Washington, who's 6-6, and Minnesota, who's 6-6. So a bunch of teams a game behind Seattle, and let's not forget Washington and Dallas only a game behind the Giants for the division. So a lot of football to be played, plus Green Bay and Chicago fighting for their division. A lot of stuff going on in the NFC, so we'll keep an eye on that. Over to the AFC, you kind of know basically who your teams are going to be with the exception of that last spot. Houston right now is the 1 seed. They're solid there. New England right now, by way of tiebreaker, is the 2 seed. Those two teams would have a bye. They play on Monday night, by the way. Very big game, Houston and New England. Right now, your 3 seed would be Baltimore. It's very important Baltimore gets home field. They don't play well on the road. Your 4 seed right now would be Denver. They are red hot. Watch out for them in the playoffs. Indianapolis right now is your first wild card. The real big story here is who's going to get this last wild card. Right now, it's between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. They're 2 games up on everyone else. Right now, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are 7-5. Pittsburgh holds the tiebreaker. They beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. They also play in a few weeks in Pittsburgh, which is a huge game, which is a game the Steelers would love to have Roethlisberger back for. So right now, the AFC's you kind of know the teams. You don't know the order, with the exception of that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati race at the end there. I think the Steelers are going to squeeze in. I think Roethlisberger is going to come back. I think they eke out Cincinnati. I think when they play in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's going to beat them. They already beat them in Cincinnati. Very important game there. So that's kind of where you are in the NFL right now. 1 week, everything can change. The NFL is a week-to-week league. You see that come this week, the whole standings could change in 1 week. But that's where you kind of are right now in the NFL. Still a lot of football to be played. All right, let's kind of do my State of the Union in the NBA. Let's kind of quickly go through the NBA. There's a million games in the NBA. Tonight you got Oklahoma City at Brooklyn. That's a very interesting game. Let's go to the standings real quick. In the East, the Atlantic Division, the Knicks continue to play great ball. Knicks 12-4. Nice job by the Knicks. Nice job by the coaching. Nice job by Carmelo Anthony, who's playing really well. You hope when Amari Stoudemire comes back, he accepts his role off the bench and he doesn't, create waves. I don't love Stoudemire. I think the Knicks are better without him. I can't wait till the Knicks can jettison his contract out of here. But you hope when Stoudemire comes back, he fits in some sort of role off the bench and doesn't upset the apple cart. The Knicks overall doing a nice job, though. Brooklyn, another nice job, 11-5. Really nice job. They are establishing a home court in Brooklyn. The Brooklyn people have really come out and supported this team. Brooklyn is very proud of everything that is Brooklyn. So they are coming out and they are supporting the team. Real home court advantage for Brooklyn. Philadelphia at 10-7. They've done a nice job considering they don't have Bynum yet. If you put Bynum on this team in the East, the Sixers are a good team. Need Bynum back playing healthy. He hasn't played 1 game this year, and he's missed a bunch of time with his knees in the past. So we'll see if Bynum comes back, when he comes back, and how well he plays. Boston at 9-8, sputtering. A lot of age on that team. I do like Doc Rivers. I like their players, but they are older. They give you everything they have. They are older. I think that's going to catch up to them in the end, like it's caught up to them the last couple of years. Toronto, not much good to say about Toronto at 4-14. They're 1-9 on the road. Long way back for Toronto. In the Central, Milwaukee at 8-8. They have a good backcourt with Jennings and Ellis. But, do they have any size up front to complement their guards? Plus, can Jennings and Ellis, work long-term together? They both like to shoot a lot, so we'll see about that. Chicago at 8-7, they need Derrick Rose back. They can't win without him. Indiana at 8-9, no Granger. They've been very disappointing this year. They were really good last year, gave the Heat all they can handle in the playoffs. We'll see when Granger can come back, probably a couple months. Indiana sputtering right now. Detroit at 6-13, 1-10 on the road. Not much more to say about them. Cleveland, same thing. They're 4-14, 2-9 on the road. Irving, their best player, is hurt. Over to the Southeast, Miami at 12-3. They're the best team in the NBA. We all know that. Only an injury can stop them. Atlanta at 9-5. Nice team. Horford and Smith, really nice players. Can they get up to another level? Can they get up to like a contender level? Charlotte at 7-9. Believe it or not, Charlotte at 7-9 has done a nice job. they're almost at their win total for last year, if you remember. So Charlotte overall, even though they're 7-9, they've done an actually a decent job. Orlando at 7-10. I mean, it's amazing they win any games with that roster. They just beat the Lakers on the road and Golden State on the road back to back. Hard to believe. Washington at 1-13. Need Wall back in the worst way. They can't win without him. Over to the West, the Northwest Division. Oklahoma City at 14-4. We'll see how Martin is replacing Harden. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma City's as good without Harden. We'll see if Martin can step in his shoes. Utah at 9-10. Utah is good at home. They're 6-0 at home. They're not good on the road. Utah's kind of a 500 team. Denver at 9-9. They're the same thing. They're good at home, bad on the road. Minnesota at 7-8. Love is back. They need Rubio back. They haven't had him the whole year. Portland at 8-10. They're not a great team. Their fans are great, though. Over to the Pacific. Golden State doing a nice job. They're 10-7. Curry's playing well. Lee's playing well. Mark Jackson doing a nice job with that team, considering they haven't had Bogert at center yet. Remember, they traded for Bogert. He had surgery. He hasn't played yet. He's out indefinitely. Who knows when he's back? If you put Bogert on this team with Lee and Curry, you have a nice team that could make the playoffs. So Golden State at 10-7 without Bogert, doing a nice job so far. Clippers at 11-6 need to be more consistent. I mean, we know they're a good team. Can they be a championship team? You can't lose some of these home games they've lost this year. I mean, they lost to teams like Cleveland in their own building. If you're a contender, you polish off bad teams. Clippers have to be more consistent. They do have a good team, though. Lakers at 8-9, very disappointing. No Nash, a lot of age. 1-4 on the road. They lost to the Magic at home. Gasol in a fog. Kobe older. Dwight Howard, who knows about him? Like I said, Nash hasn't played yet. Artest is old. Their bench is not that good. Major problems for the Lakers. I mean, they do have a collection of names. I don't like the whole situation with the Lakers. I don't think they're a contender. Phoenix 7-11, 2-8 on the road. Not a surprise. Sacramento 4-12, 0-6 on the road. Not a surprise. Over to the Southwest, I'll tell you who's a nice young team. Memphis is 12-3. They have a nice young team. If you ever get a chance to watch Memphis, take a look at them. They play a nice brand of basketball. Here's Memphis's problem. No superstar. They have Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol's brother. They have Rudy Gay. They have Randolph. They have Conley. No superstar. This is a superstar league. Superstars win. In the end, that's going to catch up to Memphis. They're going to definitely be in the playoffs. I would consider them maybe a contender, a fringe contender, but with no superstar, they can only go so far. San Antonio, 14-4. Always have a great regular season. I think they have too much age on them to win in the playoffs, but they always give you everything they have. Popovich, a great coach. Houston 8-8, very exciting with Lynn and Harden, but can they get better than just 8-8? Dallas 8-9, need Dirk Nowitzki back in the worst way. He hasn't played this year. New Orleans at 5-11. Davis is hurt. Gordon is another one that's always hurt. He hasn't played at all this year. If you remember, he signed an offer sheet, Gordon, in the offseason to play with Phoenix, but he was a restricted free agent, and New Orleans matched that offer. He's yet to play. He's always hurt. If New Orleans has all their young players healthy, they have a nice collection of young players to watch. You have Davis, you have Gordon, you have Rivers, the son of Doc Rivers. You have a nice collection of young players that you can build with, but they have to be on the court at the same time. I mean, like I said, Gordon always hurt. Davis is hurt now. They can't even get these guys on the court. If they do, they have a nice young team to watch. So that is your State of the Union in the NBA. Let's quickly go through the top 25 in college basketball. Number 25, NC State at 4-2. I actually have NC State before the year as one of my sleeper teams for the tournament. I'm still going to stick with them. They haven't been playing great so far. I do like them going forward. They're number 25. Number 24, the Wichita State Shockers at 8-0. Nice program. Really nice little program that a lot of people don't know about. Nice program, Wichita State. 23, Oklahoma State at 5-1. They play at historic Gallagher-Iber Arena. If you ever get out to Stillwater, check that arena out. Very historic. Fans are great there. 22, Notre Dame at 7-1 off the big win against Kentucky. Unbelievable. Notre Dame always seems to pull off a big win at home. Number 21, UNLV at 5-1. They're starting to rebuild that program. Number 20, North Carolina. I know the North Carolina fans are not going to be happy being number 20, but I mean, they're still, they're still 6-2, still a good team. But I mean, North Carolina fans are spoiled. They want their team up in the top 5. Number 19, Michigan State at 6-2. Listen, throw out the regular season for Michigan State. We know they sputter in the regular season. We also know that Tom Izzo has them tournament ready come March, and they are always in contender come March. Every year you look up, and Michigan State is always making a run in the tournament. Number 18, New Mexico at 8-0. I mean, that place is a madhouse where they play in Albuquerque, called the Pit, and rightfully so. The fans there are amazing. Another place you should check out in Albuquerque. 17, San Diego State at 5-1. They're building a nice program, really nice program out there in San Diego State. Number 16, Creighton, they're 7-1. They play in Omaha, Nebraska. They get some of the biggest crowds in all of college basketball. You wouldn't think so. You'd think Creighton's a small little school. You think they wouldn't get a big crowd. They get a nice crowd in Omaha. Number 15, Georgetown 5-1. They're solid. Number 14, Minnesota 8-1. That's Tubby Smith's team. Big Ten is loaded this year. Number 13, Illinois 8-0. Another Big Ten team. Number 12, Missouri. They're 6-1. They're a lot of fun to watch. Number 11, Cincinnati at 7-1. They play a really nice grinded out defensive style of ball. Number 10, Gonzaga at 8-0. What a job they've done building Gonzaga. I mean, Gonzaga is consistently in the top 20. They always do things in the tournament. This is Gonzaga. I mean, you go back 20 years and no one even knew about Gonzaga. I mean, all you knew about Gonzaga was John Stockton played there. Now they are a perennial contender every year. They're always in the top 20. Great job building that program. Number 9, Kansas. They're 6-1. Are they ever not in the top 10? Number 8, Arizona. They're putting together a good program. We know they can win out there. We know they've done it before. They're 5-0. Number 7, Ohio State. They're 5-1. Had a tough loss to Duke. They're solid though. Number 6, Florida. 6-0. Very tough place to play down there in Gainesville with the rowdy Reptiles. Number 5 is Louisville. 6-1. Pitino's got a real contender this year. Number 4, Syracuse. 6-0. Jim Boeheim again doing it. I mean, you got to give Boeheim credit. Year after year he does it. Number 3, Michigan, 7-0. They're starting to get back to, playing really good ball. They built a nice program there. Number 2, Duke, 8-0. Has anyone been more impressive than Duke this year? They beat Kentucky, Louisville, Ohio State, Virginia Commonwealth, and Minnesota. No one has a better collection of wins than Duke. Krzyzewski, amazing coach, just historic figure. And number 1, Indiana at 8-0, and they have a really nice program. What an atmosphere there in Bloomington. Great fans there, the historic arena. Just really great to see Indiana playing good ball again. How about some teams that are not in the top 25? Where's Kentucky? They get bounced after losing to Notre Dame. Now, we know Kentucky's got a really young team. Very high standards at Kentucky now with Calipari bringing in all these great recruits. I mean, they just won it last year. Probably unfair to put that pressure on these young players. They're out of the top 25. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe they relax now. They play better. You know they're going to get better, but they're out of the top 25 now. No UCLA. What's going on with UCLA? I mean, all sorts of problems with UCLA this year. No UConn. You think they don't miss Jim Calhoun? No Pitt. What's happened to Pitt the last couple of years? Little down for them. No Memphis. You think Memphis doesn't miss Calipari's recruiting? Memphis was in the top 10 every year Calipari was there. Now they've kind of dropped back. They're not even in the top 25 this year. So those are some of the teams that are not in the top 25. That wraps up your college basketball. I know college basketball is a long way to go. Regular season is kind of watered down. It's all about the tournament. I still like watching the games. There's a million games on every night. Tonight, if you're looking for some college basketball, you got the Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden. You got Georgetown and Texas. You got UConn and NC State. So a nice doubleheader at Madison Square Garden. You can catch those games on ESPN. Always good if you can to get out to the Jimmy V Classic or donate to the Jimmy V Fund. And if you get a chance, go find the speech from Jim Valvano at the ESPY Awards. I know we've all seen it a million times. A great speech. Jim Valvano was a great man. So if you can, take a look at the Jimmy V Classic. If you're in the New York area, get out there and watch some good college basketball tonight. Okay, so that wraps up today. Tomorrow, I am going to go through all the bowl matchups with you, and there are plenty of them. I couldn't believe how many bowl games there are this year. I'm going to go through each and every game. I'm going to, we're going to break it down a little bit. I'm not going to give you my official picture yesterday, but we'll go through all the games, see which games I like, see which games I don't like, see who's in a bowl, who's out, all that kind of stuff. We'll do that all tomorrow. You guys enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy your NBA. Enjoy your college basketball. I will talk to you tomorrow, Wednesday. We'll go through all the bowl games. I will talk to you then. Stay safe. Talk to you Wednesday. Take care.